Welcome to the Political Bridge. I'm Ada, your host. Today we're diving into a crucial topic. It's about how power is used and how we hold leaders responsible. We're talking about political pardons. Specifically, we'll look at the recent controversy surrounding Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and his pardon board. This board has been under fire for its decisions. Critics say there's a lack of openness. They also question the reasons behind some pardons. This raises big questions for everyone. How much power should a governor have in these matters? What does true accountability look like? And how can we make sure these decisions are fair? Nico and Jordan are here to help us understand. They will break down the different viewpoints. Let's explore the arguments for and against the current system. We will also discuss potential reforms. It's a debate that touches on justice, trust, and the rule of law. Let's get started.
The Tim Walz Pardon Board controversy highlights a serious problem. It shows a lack of transparency and accountability. The public needs to trust that pardons are given fairly. They must be based on clear rules. Instead, we see decisions that seem to lack proper explanation. This erodes public confidence. When a governor can grant pardons without strong oversight, it opens the door to abuse. It can lead to political favors. It can also create an unfair system. We need a process that is open for all to see. There should be clear reasons for every pardon. This isn't just about Governor Walz, it's about the office itself. The power to pardon is immense. It should not be used lightly. It must be subject to strict scrutiny. This ensures fairness for everyone. It also protects the integrity of our justice system. The current situation falls short of these basic standards. We need real reform now.
I think Nico misses a key point here. The power to pardon exists for a reason. It's a way to correct wrongs. It can offer a second chance. It can also show mercy when the justice system has been too harsh. The Tim Walz Pardon Board has been doing important work. They are reviewing cases. They are looking at individual circumstances. It's not always about a lack of transparency. Sometimes it's about giving people a fresh start. We need to remember that the justice system isn't perfect. It makes mistakes. It can be unfair. Pardons can help fix those issues. We shouldn't just focus on the controversy. We should look at the positive impact. Many people who receive pardons go on to live productive lives. They contribute to their communities. This power is a vital part of our checks and balances. It ensures that justice has a human face. It's about rehabilitation, not just punishment.
Both of you have laid out strong opening arguments. Nico, you emphasize the need for transparency and clear rules. You worry about potential abuse of power. Jordan, you highlight the importance of pardons for justice and second chances. You see them as a vital tool. My first question for both of you is this: how do we balance these two important goals? How can we ensure fairness and mercy while also maintaining public trust? What specific changes would you propose to achieve this balance? Nico, let's start with you.
We balance them by making the process open. Every pardon request should be public. The reasons for granting or denying a pardon must be clearly stated. This includes all supporting documents. The public should know why a decision was made. They should see what criteria were used. We also need an independent review body. This group would oversee the pardon board. They would ensure decisions are not political. This is about more than just Governor Walz. It's about how the system works. Right now, it feels too much like a black box. People don't understand it. That breeds distrust. For example, if a pardon helps someone get a job, that's good. But we need to know why that person was chosen. We need to know the full story. This level of transparency and accountability for political pardons is essential. It protects everyone.
Nico's focus on total transparency might actually hurt the process. Some information needs to remain private. This protects the privacy of the person seeking a pardon. It also protects sensitive details of their case. We can't put everything out in the open. That would discourage people from seeking help. It could also make the process too long. We need a balance. I propose clearer guidelines for the board. These guidelines should be public, but the specific details of each case can remain confidential. We also need to invest more in rehabilitation programs. These programs help people rebuild their lives. A pardon is just one step. It's not the only answer. We need to trust the board members. They are appointed to make these difficult decisions. We should give them the tools they need. We must also ensure they have diverse backgrounds. This brings different perspectives to the table. It leads to fairer outcomes.
This brings us to our stress test round. Nico, you argue for an independent review body. But how do you ensure this body itself is truly independent? Who appoints them? What prevents them from becoming another layer of political influence? Your plan relies on a truly unbiased oversight, which can be very hard to achieve. Jordan, you suggest trusting the board members and their diverse backgrounds. However, this doesn't fully address concerns about transparency. How do you convince a skeptical public that decisions are fair, especially when specific case details remain confidential? How do you build trust without revealing more of the process? Nico, let's start with your challenge.
Ada, you're right to point out the challenge of true independence. It's not easy, but we can design a system to minimize political influence. The independent review body members should be chosen by a nonpartisan panel. This panel could include retired judges, legal experts, and community leaders. They would serve fixed terms. This limits political pressure. Their appointments would also require legislative approval. This adds another layer of checks. Their role isn't to redecide cases, it's to ensure the pardon board followed its own rules. They would check for consistency. They would look for any signs of undue influence. This creates a strong safeguard. It makes the system more robust. It doesn't eliminate all politics, but it makes it much harder for bad actors. It's about putting guardrails in place. This protects the integrity of the pardon power. It gives the public confidence.
Ada, I understand the public's need for trust. It's a valid concern. My point about confidentiality isn't about hiding bad decisions. It's about protecting individuals. We can increase transparency without revealing private details. For example, the board can publish detailed annual reports. These reports would include data on pardons granted and denied. They would explain the general criteria used. They could also share anonymized case studies. These studies would show how the board applies its guidelines. This offers insight without exposing personal information. We can also have public hearings for the board's policy changes. This allows for public input. It shows the board is listening. It's about finding the right balance. It's about being open about the process, not every single private detail. This builds trust by showing the public how decisions are made. It does not compromise privacy.
Both of you have directly addressed those tough questions. Nico, you've outlined a structure for an independent review. Jordan, you've suggested ways to increase transparency while protecting privacy. This stress test reveals the core tension. It's between the need for individual privacy and the public's right to know. It's also about balancing political accountability with the goal of fair, impartial decisions. Now let's move to your closing arguments. What's your strongest final case for your position, given what we've discussed?
My strongest case remains clear. We must prioritize transparency and accountability. The power to pardon is a serious one. It should not be left to opaque processes. The Tim Walz Pardon Board controversy shows us this. When the public doesn't understand decisions, they lose faith. This harms our entire justice system. My proposal for an independent review body and full public disclosure of reasons is vital. It creates a system that is fair and trustworthy. It protects against favoritism. It ensures that pardons are given for the right reasons. This isn't about being punitive. It's about being responsible. It's about upholding the rule of law. We need to restore confidence in this critical function of government. We must demand more openness. This will benefit everyone. It will ensure justice is not just done, but seen to be done.
My final point is this. We must not let calls for extreme transparency overshadow the human element. Pardons offer hope. They offer second chances. They allow people to re-enter society. We need a system that supports this. The current board, despite some criticisms, aims to do that. My proposal for clearer public guidelines and anonymized reports offers a practical path. It increases understanding without harming individuals. We need to trust the people on these boards. They are making difficult, nuanced decisions. We should focus on improving their resources. We should also ensure diverse perspectives are present. This ensures fairness. It also ensures mercy. Let's not throw out the baby with the bathwater. We can have accountability. We can also have a compassionate system. It is not an either-or situation. We can achieve both. This serves justice best.
Jordan, while I appreciate the emphasis on the human element, the current system often lacks a crucial comparative analysis that could bolster public trust. Consider the data from states like Texas or California, which publish detailed annual reports on their pardon processes. These reports don't just list numbers. They often include aggregate demographic data of applicants, success rates, and even common categories of offenses for which pardons are granted. This level of aggregated, anonymized data allows the public and researchers to identify patterns, assess potential biases, and understand the board's priorities without revealing individual privacy. Minnesota's current reporting, or lack thereof, makes such an analysis impossible. Without this broader context, how can we truly evaluate if the system is fair, or if certain demographics or types of offenses are disproportionately favored or overlooked? It's not about individual cases, it's about systemic fairness, which requires systemic data.
Nico, I agree that aggregated data can be valuable, but we must be careful not to over-rely on statistics to define fairness in such a deeply personal process. The human element, which I continue to stress, involves nuanced considerations that don't always translate neatly into demographic tables. For example, a pardon board might prioritize individuals who have demonstrated extraordinary rehabilitation efforts, regardless of their demographic profile or original offense category. Focusing too much on statistical comparisons with other states which have different legal frameworks, social contexts, and even varying definitions of what constitutes a pardon can be misleading. Instead of just raw data, I'd advocate for more qualitative, narrative-driven insights from the board itself, perhaps through public discussions or detailed case summaries that illustrate the board's reasoning and the profound impact of these decisions without compromising individual privacy. This provides context beyond mere numbers.
And that brings us to the end of another insightful discussion. Nico and Jordan, thank you both for sharing your perspectives on this complex issue. The debate over transparency and accountability for political pardons is clearly one with many layers. It touches on fundamental questions about justice, trust, and the role of government. It's a conversation we all need to keep having. You can find more information and resources at tpbbridgepod.com. Join us next time for another engaging discussion. Until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep bridging those political divides.